This is the most comprehensive Arc Raiders attachments tier list that you'll find on YouTube. I'm going to give you a full breakdown so that you can understand what attachments you should be prioritizing in Arc Raiders, whether you're a complete beginner or even an experienced player. So let's completely break this down. First, I'm going to explain my top 5 S tier list. Then we'll break down the rest. Now, looking at this list, a lot of people wouldn't typically agree with a lot of things that I have in place here. But as someone that's played over 400 hours of the game, killed thousands of players, destroyed even more Arc enemies, this is my best weighted tier list based on my personal experience. Now, I am someone who has over 25,000 tracked hours on Steam and other online platforms on video games. So I am speaking from a lot of experience here. But one thing you definitely need to take largely into consideration about this list is that it is a weighted list based on multiple value metrics. So first, let's weigh in value, meaning how much it actually costs to craft the attachment, how rare the item is, how difficult it is to acquire or buy, and how often you come across it in game. Next, let's weigh in versatility. How many different situations does it absolutely dominate in? Let's also weigh in how many different weapons in the game benefit vastly from equipping this attachment. Is this attachment only good on one weapon, or does it have more dispersed value by multiple weapons in the game? And then let's weigh in the weapon trade-off. So think, what are you losing in order to gain an advantage with this attachment? Now, I understand that this is a little bit of a complex topic. Thinking about how many different situations a weapon attachment is good in, thinking about how many different weapons utilize the attachment and benefit vastly from it, thinking about how many negative trade-offs there actually are from the attachment, thinking about how much it values. Combining all of this is a pretty complex algorithm, but all of these pain points are an incredibly integral part in deciding which attachments are genuinely just some of the best in the game. So I know that's a mouthful, and honestly, I don't think any other content creator on this platform will explain this to you because they don't really care to. But now that you understand this, you can conceptualize this list a little bit better. So you're kind of seeing it from the perspective of someone that has over 400 hours in the game now. Good job. Now we can dig really deep into it. Let's talk about my S tier top 5. These are essentially the only 5 that you need to use in the game. First is the Vertical Grip 3, which is 5,000 credits in game, and it gives you 40% reduced vertical recoil at the cost of a 30% reduced ADS speed. You will feel one of the largest differences in your aim when you start using this attachment. Next, the Muzzle Brake 3. It gives you both 25% reduced vertical recoil and 25% reduced horizontal recoil, and it comes at the cost of 20% increased weapon durability burn rate, which is an insane trade-off. Incredibly lethal. Attachment number 3, the Padded Stock. This one gives you 15% reduced vertical recoil, 15% reduced horizontal recoil, 20% reduced per shot dispersion, meaning bloom, at the cost of increasing your equip and unequip time by 20%, and then reducing your ADS speed by 30%. So slowing the weapon's overall mobility, but giving you some crazy increased accuracy. Definitely my favorite stock in the entire game. Attachment number 4, the Kinetic Converter. This one gives you a 15% increased fire rate at the cost of 20% increased vertical recoil and 20% increased horizontal recoil. But it's a completely unique attachment in the game, the only one that actually increases your fire rate. And finally, probably one of the most slept on attachments in the entire game, the Silencer 2. This one has absolutely zero negatives. It just reduces your noise by 40%. It's insane. It makes it incredibly hard for your enemies to spot you. All right, now that you understand my top 5 pick, let's talk about the rest. Starting with the Extended Light Mag 3. The Extended Light Mag 3 is easily one of the best attachments in the entire game. It gives you 35 bullets in some of the most broken weapons, like the Stitcher, the Bobcat, and even works for the Berletta. All 3 of these weapons are incredible, so you get a lot of value from this attachment, 100%. Plus, there aren't any negative trade-offs for equipping it. It's literally just a plus 15 magazine size, and light weapons typically need this extra firepower the most because they have some of the weakest damage per bullet. So that rounds out my S tier to this tier list. Now let's talk about A tier. First, the Horizontal Grip. Now honestly, I know what you're thinking when you see this in A tier. This is probably what people picked up on as the worst take out of everything in this entire list. The Horizontal Grip is incredible, yes, 100%. And honestly, it should be S tier for this list. Yes, I understand this. Now what makes the Horizontal Grip not S tier is the fact that it is almost impossible to come across in the game. There are no known blueprints for this. It's one of the top 3 rarest attachments in the entire game. You absolutely cannot get your hands on it. But unlike the Kinetic Converter, it isn't unique in its perks, meaning there are other attachments that you can get 30% reduced recoil, vertical or horizontal. So the fact that it's incredibly rare and it also doesn't have a unique component to it knocks it down to the A tier list, 1,000,000%. Majority of people in this game have never even come across this. That's essentially how rare it is to find a horizontal grip on a weapon. Now, other than that, it's an incredible attachment. You get 30% reduced horizontal recoil and 30% reduced vertical recoil at the cost of reduced ADS speed. This is a trade-off that I'm willing to make any day of the week. Now let's talk about the Extended Barrel a little bit. This one actually only costs 2 mod components and 8 wires, and it gives you a 25% increased bullet velocity at the cost of 15% increased vertical recoil. Now, unfortunately, this is just another pink or purple rarity item that's extremely hard to come across. Obviously not as hard to come across as a Horizontal Grip, and it definitely deserves a spot in the S tier category as well, which is why it's top tier A category. But personally, my value index is just not S tier level high for increased bullet velocity. Next, we have the Extended Mag level 3. Now, typically the majority of these items are going to follow a pretty standard blue to green to gray tier list. So I'm going to point out one more blue tier attachment, which is the Compensator, that we definitely need to talk about. But for the most part, we can understand that blue blue tier and green tier and gray tier now are in their respective B, C, and D places. Now, the compensator is another attachment that is extremely controversial in a lot of my comments, especially in my short form video. One of the main reasons that you should not categorize the compensator as an S tier versus the muzzle brake is because the muzzle brake is more valuable on more weapons in the game versus the compensator. The compensator reduces your per shot dispersion, meaning the randomness that your bullets shoot at, and it also returns your crosshair back to its original shooting point quicker. Now, this is great specifically for single shot weapons. That's where the compensator comes really clutch. When you shoot a weapon that has a lot of recoil, your compensator throws your weapon back to its original accuracy quicker and reduces the per shot dispersion, meaning the randomness of your bullets. So weapons that shoot single fire like the Renegade, the Anvil, and even potentially a sniper benefit more from the compensator because you can shoot a heavy hitting shot in succession quicker and be more accurate. That's where the value in the compensator lies versus the muzzle brake, which is more valuable on spray weapons because it reduces vertical recoil and horizontal recoil, only at the cost of increased durability burn rate. So those are the main differences that you need to understand between the compensator and the muzzle brake. The muzzle brake is great for automatic weapons and the compensator is great for single fire weapons. And there are more automatic weapons in the game that take muzzle brakes than there are single fire weapons in the game that take compensator. Now let's move down to the B tier list, starting with the lightweight stock. The lightweight stock increases your ADS speed by 200% and reduces your equip time by 30% and reduces your unequipped time by 30% as well. Now this comes at a steep price of 50% increased vertical recoil and 50% increased recoil recovery time. That is essentially why the lightweight stock is rated so low on this list. Obviously B tier is great, but for a pink purple rarity item, it has some of the highest negatives in the entire game. Being able to equip your weapon quicker and ADS faster at the cost of 50% increased vertical recoil and 50% increased recoil recovery time is an absolutely steep cost that you don't really want to use on automatic weapons. So it's great for something that you simply shoot off the hip like a shotgun or even maybe the Torrente, something that you're not ADSing in and you don't really care to be completely accurate with. Now, everything else in the B tier list is green or lower, understandably so. So let's move on to the C tier list. Now, another surprising thing about the C tier list is here you see 2 pink rarity items and a gold rarity item. Now, what's happening in this list is the cost to value ratio for these items has been completely flipped. So these items cost more than they are actually valued at. For example, the shotgun silencer level 3. First of all, this attachment only works on 2 weapons, the Toro and the Volcano. That alone already limits the amount of use that you're going to get from it. Second, it's quite expensive to craft and you absolutely do not get more value out of running this silencer versus running a shotgun choke, which gives you more distance. You don't really get that much of a tactical advantage from a shotgun silencer. And then second, we have the silencer level 3. This one is inversely valued cost to efficiency ratio as well. Number 1, because the silencer 2 has such great value index. And number 2, it has a high durability burn rate and it's expensive. So overall, I typically just do not recommend running the silencer level 3 over the silencer level 2. And then finally, we have the Anvil Splitter, which is one of the most expensive attachments in the entire game. And it reduces your projectile damage by 70%. Now, obviously you get +3 projectiles per shot, meaning you shoot more bullets at once, but overall the cost value index is just insanely low for a gold tier item, with all due respect. Now, that's pretty much everything I have for you in this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment below and I'll definitely check it out. Much love, goats, and thanks for joining me in the dojo.